Hey y'all, Meteorologist Erica Lopez. I just wanted to come on and give you a quick update on this extremely active evening across a lot of South Georgia and even the Carolinas, where we already saw reports of tornadoes touching down in these regions. So I want to give you a quick update. I know a lot of you live in this region, and of course, let me know where you're watching from and what your concerns are for the rest of the evening. I'll try to answer those questions, but what you're seeing right behind me is that live radar. And yes, all those red boxes are all the tornado warnings we still have ongoing this afternoon. So when you hear a tornado warning, it means you need to seek shelter immediately. And that's what those red boxes are indicating for us here on live radar. And you're also seeing those yellow boxes. Those are all severe thunderstorm warnings. Not to say that they're anything less than a tornado warning. Some of these severe thunderstorm warnings are being warned for 60 to 70 mile per hour wind gusts, and that's going to cause considerable damage. These storms have already produced several tornadoes in areas of Louisiana and even Texas yesterday in the early morning hours, and this is just rolling through this area. So of course, again, I will be checking the comment section. Let me know what your concerns are and where you're watching from this evening. So we're going to start to zoom into some of these regions. And here's a tornado warning in Savannah, Georgia. This is really one of the most populated areas right now that's under a tornado warning. And you're seeing that pretty strong indication of that tornado warning over areas of Savannah. So let me read the latest stats on this particular tornado warning. And this is for portions of Bryan County, Bullock County, Effingham County, Chatham County, and Jasper County until 6:15 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So that means you still have at least another 45 minutes. This is a damaging tornado, a confirmed tornado on the ground right now, just to the north of Savannah, Georgia. This will make way for cause of damage in these regions. So this is a particularly dangerous situation that's going on with this region, with a damaging tornado being reported just north of Savannah, Georgia. So that means on I-16, that I-95 corridor where it's heavily traveled on as well, that tornado right now moving through these regions, and you're seeing it there on radar. So let's put on some of this velocity and see what we're seeing on air here, and just giving you a quick update on what's going on. So there's that local radar right now. If we toggle on velocity, we can really see what's going on with the storm and where that rotation is. So it's going right over Highway 16 right now, or I-16 there in Georgia, and even along Highway 80. So if you know anybody who lives in these regions, make sure they're seeking shelter. And if you're not really sure where to go when to seek shelter, maybe you're in Rincon there in Georgia, or Shawnee, Georgia. These are areas that need to be seeking shelter now. You still have a couple more minutes until these storms get to your area, but make sure you're in the most interior portion of your home, away from those exterior walls and windows. And if you have a basement, that's really the best area to seek shelter. I know some of you guys in Georgia do have basements, so that's the best area you can get on with this severe weather ongoing. So there it is, there's that rotation. So let's track it out for anybody who's in this region. Again, this is a dangerous storm. A confirmed tornado has been reported with this particular storm system in southeast Georgia there. And it's moving at 45 miles per hour. So it'll get to those areas pretty quickly here. So let's toggle on that tracker if you live anywhere in these regions. So at 45 miles per hour, we can put on that tracker right there in the center of the rotation and track it out for these areas that are in the path of the storm. So here are the cities: Guyton, Georgia; Rincon, Georgia; Hardinville, Georgia; and Tillman, Georgia. You're in the path of this storm. This storm will get to those regions at Guyton at around 5:49 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, 5:56 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time for Rincon, 6:07 in Hardisville, and 6:13 in Tillman, Georgia. Again, this is a confirmed tornado, and you can definitely see it there on radar. So I want to see if we can see any sort of debris ball signature with this particular system, because that means that there is damage happening. This tornado is on the ground, and that's a very strong indication of that right now ongoing in South Georgia. If you live anywhere in these regions, again, you need to be seeking shelter, and this is a dangerous storm that's passing through this area as we speak. And of course, keep updated. I'll check the comment section here and there as we go throughout the stream. And so yes, a lot of people are concerned with areas in North Carolina. These storms right now are in South Carolina, but this is what we're seeing right now with this particular storm system. And yeah, this whole widespread area, that means there's possibly maybe debris being lofted in the air, and you can definitely tell with this correlation coefficient data signature there. And let's put on velocity, because yeah, you can definitely see that's rotating. And actually earlier in the reflectivity, I was seeing possibly a hook echo type of indication there. So that means this is a strong storm system anywhere from Rincon, Port Wentworth in Georgia, Shawnee, going right over I-16 there in South Georgia at the current moment. And that's what we're seeing now. So I'm going to check to see if there are any sort of reports coming in from the National Weather Service with this particular storm system. But it doesn't look like it. We still have that tornado warning ongoing for these regions. And this, of course, is a observed tornado, Emmanuel, Georgia, until 6 p.m. And it looks like it's saying a confirmed tornado was located over Swainsboro, moving at 40 miles per hour in this evening, damaging tornado radar confirmed. And some people have reported to see it. So, of course, we'll give you the latest updates, but looks like we have a lot of reports of observed tornadoes coming in over these regions, especially in areas of Georgia. Georgia right now, southeast Georgia, near Savannah, that's where we're seeing these reports of an observed tornado on the ground at the current moment. So you need to be seeking shelter in these regions, and of course, we're going to continue to update. But here's that storm system one more time before we toggle on and look at other storms that are affecting. This is a very active evening for these areas, and of course, always have that tornado shelter plan in place over the next several hours. This is an extremely active afternoon in portions of Georgia. So there's that storm system right off of the close to the coast there on the eastern seaboard and close to Savannah, Georgia. And that's really just one of many tornado warnings we have ongoing here. A couple tornado warnings oncoming for the I-95 corridor in areas of Georgia and portions of South Carolina. And you're seeing it here for St. George. You're under a tornado warning currently. Holly Hill there in Bowman, South Carolina. All these areas under those tornado warnings in that intersection between I-95 and I-26 in portions of South Carolina. And we already saw destructive tornadoes earlier in the afternoon. So you really need to be paying attention to the weather over the next several hours. And if you're watching us maybe on YouTube, new to our channel, you can always download the MyRadar app. It'll keep you informed throughout the rest of the evening. You can actually track these storms within our app and make sure you have them. It'll give you alerts as well when there's a tornado warning issued in your area, or maybe even a tornado watch, which means you need to be prepared for these storms that are going to be coming in later on in the evening. And this will continue at least through 9 p.m., especially for areas along Georgia and South Carolina. So you still have a couple of hours, about 3.5 hours with these particular storms that could cross into your region. But yeah, that's what we're seeing so far this evening. And most of our tornado warnings are in areas of South Carolina in Georgia this evening. So there's that widespread look, and we'll go back to that tornado warning again. This was a tornado warning confirmed on the ground in Savannah, just north of Savannah, Georgia, along I-16 there, close to I-95 this evening. And we're going to zoom in one more time to see what the latest scan is with this storm system. It is moving pretty quickly at 40 miles per hour. We're still seeing that hook echo signature on radar. And let's take a look at what's going on with that debris tracker that we turned on earlier as well, because it was really telling the story of what's going on with this particular storm. And usually when we see this type of signature, that means that either there's some sort of debris being lofted in the air, that means a confirmed tornado is on the ground, and that you need to be seeking shelter in this region. So very strong indication of that still to this evening. It's just passed right over I-16 there in southeast Georgia. That velocity is still pretty tight coming over these regions. So this is definitely an area you need to be seeking shelter. Rincon, Georgia, if you live in this area, you're right in the path of this storm. This will come over your area in the next 15 minutes over this region. And if you're just tuning in and live in these areas, let's track it out for you, especially if you're in the path of this storm. So Rincon, Georgia, in about at 5:55 p.m. That's when the storm will get to you. Hardeeville, 6:06. If you live in these regions, though, you need to be already in your safe place, especially because the storm system is going to come over really quickly. You might see a lot of rain, a lot of lightning associated with this as well. And then you're going to start to get in on those really gusty winds. So you need to already be in your tornado safe zone, the most interior portion of your home for areas of Georgia, 612. And Tillman, Georgia. And we're going to have to see if the National Weather Service extends this particular warning, because it is seeing at that tight velocity couplet over these areas. And this will really move over areas of I-95. It'll come close to these regions. So make sure you're aware of these storms. Maybe you have family members that live in southeast Georgia. Make sure you're checking in on them. This is a particularly dangerous situation going on with this region in Georgia. And we're seeing all sorts of tornado warnings that are being warned for possibly a tornado or radar indicated tornado warnings within these regions. But this is the most dangerous one that's occurring right now on the ground. And again, that's just north of Savannah along I-16, just crossed over I-16 this evening. And it's really coming close along the I-95 corridor there in southeast Georgia. So let's take a look at what's going to happen, because maybe you're tuning in, don't particularly live in this area, but you're concerned for the threat of severe weather later on this evening. And here's that wide area of where we're already seeing these tornado watches. Now, a tornado watch means that even right now, although a lot of southeast Georgia and the Carolinas are seeing these tornadoes, maybe not in your area, but you need to be on alert at least until 9 p.m. this evening, Eastern Daylight Time, because these storms are already proving to be pretty strong this evening. So if you live anywhere in these zones, this is Georgia and South Carolina, you're under this until 9 p.m. A lot of the Florida Panhandle as well. Some of these are until 7 p.m., but for the most part, you need to be on alert for the rest of the evening, at least through 9 p.m., where these storm systems are completely possible to be strong over these regions. So let's take a look at future radar and track it out for you guys, because a lot of the storm systems are already in the eastern coast there of Georgia and South Carolina. As we played out throughout the evening, we're still seeing an active radar here. So that means you still got a couple more hours, or you may see some of these storms start to rotate within the system, and that'll continue at least through 8 o'clock. At 9 o'clock, most of the storms are off the shore. A lot of the activity is going to be concentrated on the Florida Panhandle there this evening. And then as we played out, at least after, I would say 11 or midnight, most of Georgia and South Carolina, you're out of the threat. Of course, with those recovery efforts that are going to be ongoing, it's some good news, at least for some alleviation of this rain, but you're still seeing a lot of that storm activity in the northern Carolina coastline there. So for you guys, your threat is mostly going to be in the early overnight hours and even into the early evening. And then really, I think all of this will be said and done at least after 3 o'clock in the morning. So yes, a lot of you guys will still be under the threat of severe weather, but that doesn't mean that you're completely done with severe weather. You will be for a short amount of time, because not only do we have the severe weather threat this evening, there's another round of it heading into tomorrow afternoon. And you already saw what these storms are capable of. So make sure that you have that safe place ready to go, especially if you live anywhere in Alabama to portions of Georgia and even Tennessee. This is where we have a level 3 out of 5 risk of severe weather, enhanced risk. So that means tornadoes are going to be possible within this orange zone that you're seeing on the screen, and anywhere in that yellow and even darker green zone. You still have the possibility of seeing this, but most of it is concentrated in portions of central Georgia. But either way, if you live in any of these highlighted zones, be prepared for severe weather heading into tomorrow afternoon. So let's time it out for you guys. If you live in this region, you can see all the activity pushing away right from the eastern coast, but another storm system right behind this is going to make its way across portions of Georgia, and there's a very small time window where we're going to start to see these storms bubble up. They're going to start in the early afternoon, like we saw earlier today. We saw several tornado reports in the early morning hours across portions of the Gulf Coast. That'll continue heading into tomorrow, with at least the time frame being at least between 11 to 1 p.m., especially in portions of northern Florida, where you already saw these storm systems. You're already seeing it as even this evening. That'll continue to bubble up in the early afternoon, and you're seeing those storms in these same areas that are seeing the storms right now. So be mindful of that. You're gonna have to take shelter at least over the next several days and even the next several hours. If you live in these regions, be prepared for that and know where to go. And then as we track it out throughout the rest of the evening and afternoon, a line of storms starts to form just there in North Georgia, and that's where we have the potential of seeing some rotating storms. And then after all of this is said and done, early morning hours for your Thursday, a lot of the activity is in portions of Florida, and then this stuff clears out. So that's the good news for you guys if you are in this region. Again, I just want to point out that this storm threat isn't particularly over, especially if you don't hear any more of the storms. You still need to be on alert in the same regions that are seeing these tornado warnings right now. So let's go back and take a look and update you on what's going on with that tornado warning just north of Savannah, Georgia. It looks like they're starting to issue these severe thunderstorm warnings just to the south of Savannah, Georgia. And then some of these tornado warnings, looks like they're starting to expire them, but we have at least still 5 tornado warnings right now in portions of Georgia and South Carolina. So let's zoom into this particular storm. And this is the one that we've been tracking with earlier reports of a confirmed tornado. We're still seeing that strong indication, that hook echo-like signature there, just north of Savannah. It's almost directly north of Savannah there, but let's put in that velocity tracker for anybody who's tuning in here and track it out. So here it is, and let's go on here. And of course, I'll check where your guys are watching from here in just a couple of minutes. But there it is, still seeing that tight indication, or that really tight indication of velocity over this region. And we're still seeing a lot of activity in terms of this correlation coefficient. Really helps us define where we possibly could see debris lofted in the air. But I'm not seeing anything very tight with this, but I'm still seeing those colors on there. So I think we're still seeing a confirmed tornado on the ground at the current moment. So let's take a look at what the National Weather Service is saying about this tornado warning. And we're still seeing an observed tag. This was just a couple of minutes ago, and this tornado warning was confirmed over Eden, Georgia, and moving at 45 miles per hour. So here's the latest now actually from the National Weather Service there. So they're still saying an observed tornado now located over, let's see, confirmed tornado, a large and extremely dangerous tornado was located 8 miles southeast of Battsburg and Leesville, moving at 50 miles per hour. And there's actually another severe or tornado warning. And there's a new tornado warning that they issued. This is a tornado capable located near Martin, moving at 40 miles per hour. So we're still seeing this dangerous storm over areas of the southeast there. And looks like actually a tornado warning for portions of the Carolinas. I'm just reading the latest stats as they come in. So there's actually another tornado warning that we have that's warned. And let's go to the comments because I see a lot of activity on here. Rincon is pronounced rincon. Okay, thank you for clarifying. And if you hear me say something weird, I always love to know. I'm not super familiar with these regions, so let me know how to pronounce them. So rincon. And somebody was saying a tornado was confirmed over Pembroke at 5:27, but nothing in Leafield. So let's zoom in and see if we can get more of these tornadoes or cities to pop up, because I know this is super zoomed out and sometimes this isn't good at picking up some of those little cities that are within these particular warnings. So Rincon, you're about to get in on this tornado. And according to the National Weather Service, we're still at least even seeing it here on radar. There's still a damaging tornado on the ground moving over Eden, and it's moving east at 45 miles per hour, quarter-sized hail. And law enforcement is confirming this tornado. And so Rincon, you need to be taking shelter now. This is actually along, looks like Highway 21 there, or State Highway 21, just to the west of I-95 this evening. And let's track it out, give you a new tracker if you live anywhere in this region. Rincon, you need to be taking shelter right now if you live in this area at 5:55. This is when that rotation will be right over your zone. This is a confirmed tornado on the ground, and this is really the city that's right in the path of this particular storm. Baker Hill at 6:06 p.m. You're right outside or just right on the edge of that warning box zone, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be taking shelter. If you live in these areas, maybe you have family members that live near these regions, they need to be taking shelter now. A confirmed tornado located over Eden, moving at 45 miles per hour. So let's take a look at what's going on with that South Carolina storm. I think there's another tornado confirmed with this particular storm system. And I know it's hard, sometimes seeing it on the screen, it's hard to keep up where these tornadoes are just because of the amount of activity that there is in terms of tornado warnings. But I want to give you a quick update. So a damaging tornado was located in South Carolina, continues for Columbia, South Carolina, Lexington, South Carolina, and West Columbia, South Carolina at 6:15 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. A lot of people live in this area, so you need to be seeking shelter if you live in this region. This is close to Highway or I-77 and I-20 there in Columbia, South Carolina, near Lake Murray. So let's actually show you that on what's going on there on radar. And Matt too, feel free, Matt is helping me here in the background. Feel free to let me know if you see anybody asking questions about these storms. So let's go to Columbia, South Carolina, and let's actually change this so we can see it better there on your screen. Let's see. So there's this particular storm. It doesn't look really great on radar, but they're saying a confirmed tornado is on the ground. And this is actually coming really close to the radar that's on there. So it might not look pretty, at least in terms of what we can see with the radar, but they are confirming a tornado with this particular storm system. Looks like I am seeing that velocity, that tight velocity signature, and that's where we're seeing the reds and the greens coming together. And let's put on that correlation coefficient to see. So yeah, that bright banding that you see on there, that means there's possibly debris being lofted because of this large and extremely dangerous tornado that we're seeing right now on the ground. So I'm actually going to time it out For anybody who lives here, Columbia, South Carolina, I think you're in the path of the storm. You're in that tornado warning box zone. Even portions of the west of, or I should say the east of Columbia, aren't under the tornado warning, but you should be seeking shelter right now. This is a dangerous storm. This is another confirmed tornado on the ground, this time in South Carolina. So we're already watching 2 of them that are confirmed on the ground. And so we're getting videos sent in. Thank you, Damien, for sending in that video. So let's time it out. Checking here how fast this is moving. And it looks like there is also a severe thunderstorm warning on top of this tornado watch, but it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be seeking shelter. This is just a storm right behind it that they're warning it for. So let's put on that storm track. Bear with me here as we're doing this live. It does take a little bit to put this tracker on there, but let's see. It's moving at 50 miles per hour. Again, a confirmed tornado here in South Carolina near Columbia. It's moving at 50 miles per hour. So let's put on that tracker. And I want to make sure that we have the accurate estimate of these times, especially if you're in those areas that are seeking shelter. And there's that latest scan. Yeah, we're definitely seeing some sort of debris ball signature occurring there in South Carolina. But I actually want to turn on the velocity, and I love putting on the velocity and timing it out because that's really where we can see the best timing for when this tornado might arrive in your region. So timing it out. So a lot of cities are actually in the path of this storm. Like I said, Columbia, South Carolina at 6:21 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. That's when this storm will pass over your area. Before that, though, Lexington, 6:07 p.m. and West Columbia at 6:16 p.m. Again, this is a large tornado confirmed on the ground in South Carolina, and that's what's ongoing right now in the ongoing situation ongoing there in these regions. So let's see, I'm gonna read the latest stats and also read your questions. I know a lot of you guys are being very good and correcting me on my pronunciation of some of these cities. So a lot of you see near Lake Marion in South Carolina here. Yeah, let me know if you're in South Carolina. Are you concerned about these storms? I know some people living in Georgia, you're definitely concerned about what's going on there. An extremely active afternoon ongoing here. So there it is, and then you have it, that radar signature. So let's see, I'm gonna get the latest update on what's going on with these tornado warnings. A lot is going on this evening across portions of Georgia and even the South Carolina. So it looks like we have a tornado warning. Radar indicated though, if you're in Bamberg, South Carolina, Denmark, South Carolina, Branchville, South Carolina until 6:30 p.m. Another tornado warning for St. George, South Carolina and Reesville, Carolina until 6 o'clock p.m. And it looks like they just issued, so as of 6 minutes ago, we got a new tornado watch issued for areas of North Carolina and South Carolina. And it's issued for, read out the cities if you live anywhere in here. So Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, Mullins, Florence, Lake City, Kingstree, and Pawleys Island in South Carolina is where we're seeing that tornado watch. A watch means that you need to be on alert, have that tornado plan, start getting it together, but have it soon because the possibility of tornadoes may be coming into your region. In North Carolina, Whiteville, Wilmington, and Oak Island. It's a very small area, but it doesn't mean that you won't see tornadoes. You definitely need to be possible, or you need to be prepared for this, and they're definitely possible. But not only are we seeing the chance of tornadoes, quarter-sized hail and damaging wind gusts is going to be another primary concern with these particular storm systems at 70 miles per hour likely in this region. And let's see, so the next tornado warning we have is in Allendale, South Carolina, Sycamore, Umer until 6:30 p.m. And of course, that dangerous tornado ongoing for areas of South Carolina, Lexington, and West Columbia until 6:15 p.m. And let's see if we can get the latest updates on what's going on there in Georgia. So it looks like we're still seeing an observed tornado on the ground. I'm going to read the latest stats here. The National Weather Service is really good at updating us on what's going on the ground there, and especially with those reports ongoing. So, and if you're anywhere in these regions, it always does help the National Weather Service to report what's going on in your area. So it looks like tornado warning still for Allendale, South Carolina. And I'll actually show it on here because I know I'm just reading it off and I want to see the big picture view of where these storms are. Let's see. Hey, Matt. Not sure if you can hear me back there. Okay, so I'm gonna zoom out. I actually want to go and sit and track this out, Matt, so let me know when I can do that. Okay, so let's go and track these storms out. So I'm zooming out now. And I'm going to sit and do it because it's easier for me to do that and it gives you a good visual for anybody who's watching. I'll see in the chat what's going on. Of course, continue to answer your questions or ask your questions. But okay, so somebody's asking about Case, South Carolina. And I do have to look these up because I'm not super familiar with where these cities are, but I do want to give you that. Okay, so Case, South Carolina, you are under this tornado warning. If you're watching us from there, you need to be in your safe zone. This is a confirmed tornado on the ground near Case, South Carolina. And let's zoom into that area because Case is just to the south there of Columbia. And let's see if this picks it up on here. So there's Case. Case, you're close to that radar there, but it doesn't mean you should be taking, you shouldn't be taking shelter because this is that storm that has a confirmed tornado on it. And if you live in Case, South Carolina, make sure you're seeking shelter right now. This is a dangerous storm that's moving over your area. So let's turn on the radar and give you an update on that. And thank you for asking that, especially for anybody who's concerned with this tornado warning. It looks like they just updated too. So when it's flashing there like that on the screen, it just means it's been updated. So tornado warning at least until 6:15 for central Lexington and northwestern Richland counties, with a confirmed tornado located over Red Bank moving at 50 miles per hour. And I'm not seeing that type velocity signature because of how close it's moving into that radar, but it's still there. We're still seeing a confirmed tornado on the ground per the latest update of the National Weather Service. And I'm trying to get all the latest facts on there, but looks like we're still seeing that. And so let's actually time it out. So a lot of you were asking, and I can't really see where that velocity signature is very well, but it's somewhere in here. And I want to track it out for anybody who lives in these regions. So at 6:10 in Lexington, 6:19 in West Columbia, 6:23 in Columbia. And for the person who's asking about Case, South Carolina, I think it'll get there at around 6:20. So seek shelter now. And somebody's asking, is the Casey? Okay, thank you for correcting me. So it's Casey in South Carolina. And there's a tornado close to Fort Gordon. I'm not sure where that is. Is that in Georgia, for that who's asking? So that's near Augusta. I think you guys might have some tornado warnings near there. So Casey, South Carolina, thanks for that correction. So Augusta, you're just seeing a lot of rainfall right now. Actually, this rain might end for you soon. So for who's asking about Fort Gordon, you are in the clear in terms of that tornado warning right now, but it doesn't mean you won't see anything later on this evening. You guys, if you live to the east of Augusta, that's where we're seeing a severe thunderstorm warning, but right behind it, you're not seeing very much activity, maybe just some light rainfall activity. I'm not also seeing much in the way of any flood warnings right now. That's another big issue that you'll run into later on this evening. But of course, thank you for asking those questions in the chat, correcting me on my pronunciation, since I'm not super familiar with what's going on here. And thanks for those who are tuning in. I know it's a very concerning evening with all of these storms continuing to be ongoing for parts of Georgia. But let's give you the latest stats on what's going on with this particular storm just north of Savannah, about to cross into areas of I-95 in Rincon, Georgia this evening. So let's see. Velocity there, so we're still seeing that right over Rincon. You need to be seeking shelter if you're over these areas. And so let's take a look at what's going on right now and see if we have any new tornado warnings. So yes, that ongoing tornado, confirmed tornado observed in KC, Georgia, Columbia, Georgia, Red Bank, Lexington, Gilbert, Pine Ridge, and Irmo. Or I should say South Carolina, not Georgia. This is in South Carolina. For Columbia, South Carolina, Lexington, West Columbia, until 6:15 KC, you're under this tornado warning. It was observed earlier. You need to be seeking shelter. This is possibly a dangerous tornado that occurred earlier and might still be occurring on the ground there, but we can't really see it very well on radar. And what we are seeing very well is this particular storm right over Rincon, Georgia. You need to be taking shelter. And let's turn on some of those other signatures with radar. So there's Rincon. I'm not seeing a very evident debris ball signature, maybe this, but I think this is a little bit behind on what we were seeing with radar. But we're still seeing a hook echo-like feature here with this particular, this has been ongoing for about 20 minutes here. So you need to be taking shelter in this region. Again, let's actually show you, because I've had a couple of questions on, okay, I'm new to the area, maybe you just moved to this region and aren't really familiar with these types of storm systems. And I want to show you this real quick because I always love to show it, especially for those who aren't familiar. If you have a basement in Georgia, that's the best area to go. I'm not necessarily sure if a lot of you guys have basements there. I know some areas in Georgia do, but if you don't, there's other options for you. There's stairs, hallways, closets, and bathrooms, anywhere away from windows or doors or even outside walls. So if you have a closet that's at the tail end, that's on the walls, the exterior walls of your home, it's not really the best bet. Go to the most interior portion of your home and seek shelter there, especially with these types of storms that have the dangerous confirmed tornadoes. You need to be in the most interior portion of your home or in the basement. And this will help you with protection if you have any sort of blankets or mattresses for protection, anything to cover your head, because it's very important with not only with seeing these tornado warnings, but there could be debris lofted in the air and could make way for a huge hazard. So if you have a way to cover your head, that's really the best bet too as well. And of course, the basement is the safest place since it's in the lowest portion of your home. If there were a tornado on the ground and it were to struck your house, that would be the safest place as it's over land and it's underground there. But really, just want to show you this real quick. Hopefully it's helpful for anybody who's there in Georgia and South Carolina. But let's give you a quick update on what's going on here on radar, because it's still a pretty active scene with that storm system moving over just I-95 there. Looks like our latest radar scan has that storm passing Rincon, Georgia. This is where we had that confirmed tornado earlier on the ground, and looks like we are seeing the couplet kind of dissipate a little bit. Not sure if they still have a confirmed tornado there, but that was a confirmed tornado there earlier this evening. So it looks like we don't have any latest updates on that, but we'll have to see if they extend this warning as it's moving out of that warning box zone. So somebody's asking about Lake Murray. I'm not really sure. When you ask, if you could please include the state there. So this is, I think, in South Carolina. And yes, that was where that tornado warning was. That still is an ongoing tornado warning. But if you live in Lake Murray, you're not particularly in this tornado warning box zone. Lake Murray is just to the northwest. And so he is asking about Irmo. Is that the city? Yes. Jada was asking about Irmo. And so you're in this warning box zone, but the storm might pass to the south of you. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't be seeking shelter. These storm systems could change direction. And so let's track it out for you guys. Somebody asking about, let's see, what time I would get there. I would say within the next 15 minutes, and I wouldn't worry about time. If you're in this area, if you're under any sort of tornado warning, you need to be in your safe shelter. There is no time, and that's why they issue these tornado watches for you, to give you time to prepare for these types of storm systems. So let's track it out, and hopefully it can include the city of Irmo. Let's draw that again for anybody asking in this area. So I'll track it out with this whole warning box zone. I know it's a lot of people in this. In Columbia, you're going to get in on this at 6:25, Irmo at 6:19. So you have about 15 minutes until the storm gets to you. So I'll leave that on there and give you the latest updates. I want to make sure that we're tracking these confirmed tornadoes on the ground. So it looks like we do have a new update, a confirmed tornado located over Red Bank, moving northeast at 50 miles per hour. This is for Lexington and Richland, South Carolina. And I'm assuming it's that same storm system that was near these regions. So let's get the latest updates on that. Okay, so yeah, that's this storm that you're seeing on here. We're still seeing an observed tornado on the ground. And again, this is for Columbia, Lexington, South Carolina, in those areas. So let's see. Yes, you need to be seeking shelter if you live anywhere in these regions. In Colombia, you're right in the path of this storm, so you need to be seeking shelter right now. I'll answer a couple more questions as we get this night going on. I know a lot of you are concerned about what's going on there in South Carolina. Let's see. So yes, we have a couple tornado warnings just south of this region. So that's the one that's confirmed. We have another tornado warning just to the south of that. So that means Bamberg, Earhart, South Carolina, and you're right on that border of Georgia and the Carolinas there. So that tornado warning that was in Georgia looks like it's moving into areas of South Carolina. Georgia, behind this particular system, you're seeing that line of storms that's going to come into areas of maybe Valdosta. You're already seeing the thick of this storm, Brunswick, in these regions, Waycross, Fargo, and possibly into the Jacksonville area within the next couple of hours. So you need to be on alert, especially with these dangerous storms and what they've already been producing. But for the most part right now, we're just seeing a line of storms. That doesn't mean that you won't see any sort of damage. With this line of storms, we could see those straight line wind gusts that could possibly leave behind that damage in place. So this is what we're watching now. And here's that storm just north of Savannah. Let's see if we can toggle this on. And at about 25 minutes ago, they were seeing a confirmed tornado, but let's take a look at what's going on with the velocity. So I'm still seeing that tight velocity couplet there. Correlation coefficient, not so much. So this is what shows us if there's any sort of debris ongoing now. So there's that signature that we're seeing there. And somebody asking what is going on. So we do have a couple confirmed or earlier confirmed tornadoes on the ground. Pretty active evening across portions of Georgia and South Carolina. Earlier today, this is not just tonight or even this evening, earlier today there were a couple of tornadoes confirmed with this. And yes, somebody's saying Lexington County is getting hit right now. A lot of these areas are seeing these dangerous storms moving through these regions. So if we turn on the radar, you can see it widespread from areas of South Carolina, from Columbia, where we have a confirmed tornado on the ground, to Allendale, which was earlier, I think, had a observed tornado tag with it, but it looks like we just are seeing a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado close to Allendale and Hart, South Carolina there. And let's see if we can give you any highway perspective. So along Highway 301, 601, these are the areas that are under these storms. And continue to answer your questions. We'll try to keep you up to date with these storms. And especially later on this evening, we will have social media updates, Facebook updates, so make sure you're tuning in. Our team is doing a very good job of updating what's going on, the situation on all of our social media platforms, but this is just supplemental to help you guys, especially if you live in these regions, on what's happening live right now in areas of South Carolina. And so for anybody who's new tuning in, wondering what is going on, a lot of tornado warnings are being issued right now. I think right now we have at least 4 tornado warnings, with 2 of them that had a confirmed large tornado within them, mostly in South Carolina and right there in southeast Georgia. Now these storms are moving into areas of the Carolinas, and so that means areas in Raleigh, or I should say North Carolina. Raleigh, you'll have this line of storms moving through your region, but there is a new tornado watch issued. And actually, let's give you an update on that, because I have not showed you that this evening. So we're going to live update this map for those who are tuning in and don't particularly live in this area, but are concerned for the threat of severe weather. So it looks like they're dropping some of these tornado watches. So if you live anywhere to, let's say, Valdosta, Georgia, looks like you might be out of the thick of these tornado watches. And so tornado watch means that you have the possibility of seeing tornadoes later on this evening. And so some of these right now in Georgia are until 9, but this one up here is until midnight. And let's update that text box for you. We're doing this live, so bear with me. I like to show you what's going on here. So that should be Eastern Daylight Time. And there it is, 12 a.m. until this evening for areas of North Carolina and South Carolina. It does include Myrtle Beach. You're in the thick of it, Little River, Longs, North Carolina, Myrtle Beach is right there. Florence, you're under this tornado watch until 12 a.m. As these storms move up, that's where we have the possibility of seeing a tornado potential later on this evening. So there you have it. There's that big map that you're seeing there on your screen. If you live in any of these yellow zones, this is a tornado watch. Not a warning, a watch. And a watch means you need to be prepared for the possibility of being under a tornado warning later on this evening. So an active evening all across portions of the Carolinas and even Georgia there. But looks like these storms are starting to come off the coast there. A lot of the storm activity is actually off the coast there of Florida, maybe even across central Florida. You're already starting to see some storms here. We're in Orlando, so I did get a notification earlier on the MyRadar app that it's going to start to rain here, but thankfully I'm inside. And a lot of the, really the main threats with these storms will be damaging wind gusts and of course the possibility of seeing a tornado. So I'm not saying that they're extending that tornado warning near Savannah, Georgia. Let's see what the National Weather Service has to say. So it looks like we're still seeing a confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado was located near Ulmer, 9 miles south of Denmark. Let's see, and that's in South Carolina. So that storm that I was showing you earlier now has a tornado tag, and that's not the one that's in South. That's not the one that's near Columbia. It's this one right here, and this is the one we were showing you earlier. So let's get the latest stats on this one. So a confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado was located near Ulmer, or 9 miles south of Denmark, moving northeast at 45 miles per hour. So let's turn on the velocity. Oh no, I do not like to. I do not like to see that signature there. Yeah, that is a large and extremely dangerous tornado ongoing in this. That's a very concerning signature to see, especially when they change colors like that. Oh, and that is a debris ball signature being indicated on radar. If you are in these regions from Olar to even Bamberg, this is an extremely dangerous situation. This is not something I like to see, especially in this region. That does mean that there is a tornado on the ground right now. So let's actually track it out for anybody who's concerned in this region. If you're in this tornado watch box zone, so let's actually read out the counties, because maybe you're not familiar with the cities around it, but counties. So Orangeburg County, Bamberg County, Barnwell County. If you live anywhere in these counties, there is a dangerous tornado right now on the ground, and those are signatures I do not like to see on radar. So let's track it out. So anywhere in these regions. So Clear Pond at 6:26 p.m. That's when this storm will arrive close to you. Olar, I think you should be in your tornado safe zone. These tornadoes could change direction. And especially these storms could go a little bit more north. You're right on that edge. So if you live in Olar, South Carolina, please be taking shelter now. This is an extremely dangerous storm. 6:32 p.m. Bamberg and 6:39 p.m. in Cope, South Carolina. These are the areas under a very dangerous storm system right now, and damaging tornado is what the National Weather Service is labeling this as. So let's see. Getting the latest stats on this one. So yeah, Olar, Govan, Bamberg, Cope, Branchville. This is along Highway 321, Highway 601. These areas need to be seeking shelter. It's already moving over Ulmar right now, and this is a pretty dangerous storm right now. Let me read your questions if anybody is concerned. But yes, this storm right now is in Ulmar, if you can see that on your screen, and where you're seeing all those colors come together, that's where that tornado is located. I'm seeing a very strong indication of a debris ball signature there, and that's where you're seeing that blue, those yellows, those reds come together. That is a pretty dangerous storm. You need to be seeking shelter, and I actually want to put this tracker on and actually track it out for the whole warning box zone, because all of you guys need to be seeking shelter right now. and this is for 45 miles per hour. Let's see. Let's track it out, this entire line. If you're anywhere in this warning box zone, you need to be seeking shelter. And there it is. So Olar, the storm will get to you around 6:18. So you have 3 minutes. You need to be in your safe zone now. Gove in at 6:21. Clear Pond at 6:28 p.m., 6:34 in Bamberg. In Branchville at 6:44 p.m. You need to be seeking shelter at this current moment. And that's a pretty dangerous storm. I want to see if there's anything that we're seeing in terms of video ongoing here, and what that National Weather Service is saying. So I am seeing video of a very large tornado that was near Highway 119 in Effingham County in Georgia. That was that tornado warning we were tracking earlier. Not sure if they've lifted that, but looks like we're seeing extensive damage from areas of Allendale, South Carolina. So that's that storm right now that's moving over Olmar. Destructive tornado is what we would call this. This is very concerning to see on radar in this region. And this is the one that we're going to be tracking out, because so there's that new radar signature there. Oh my gosh, I do not like seeing that. That's a very strong signature of debris being lofted in the air. Velocity, there you have it, pretty strong. It's still going there. It just moved to the east of Olmar. Looks like they are issuing a new update with this particular storm. So looks like Olmar, they just updated the warning box zone. Olmar, you're not in this tornado warning anymore, as it already moved over your area. So a large and extremely dangerous tornado was located 8 miles northeast of Olmar, 9 miles southwest of Bamberg, moving at 40 miles per hour. This is a particularly dangerous situation ongoing there in South Carolina. So if you're just now tuning in, are hearing the tornado sirens go off, you need to be seeking shelter if you live in any of these cities. And that's a signature I do not like to see. So somebody's asking about Texas. I don't think there's much activity going on in Texas, but most of the activity is ongoing across portions of the southeast. So let's track that out. So right now, looks like we have that dangerous storm moving over the area. Looks like they have allowed that tornado warning that was in near Columbia, South Carolina to expire. So it doesn't look like there might not be a threat ongoing there right now. Doesn't mean that these storms can't respin. You need to still be on alert if you're in this region. So Olmar, that's that one tornado warning we were tracking. This is really the most dangerous storm. If you're anywhere in this area, you need to be seeking shelter right now. This is incredibly dangerous. These types of signatures I never like to see when tracking these types of storms, especially with that tight velocity couplet. This is extremely wrapped debris ball signature here. It's very rare to see it this powerful on radar, and it's very concerning. So that means there's a large and dangerous tornado on the ground. So if you're concerned about this area, let's show you that tornado safety graphic again, because you need to be seeking shelter if you're anywhere from Bamberg, Branchville. Let's see if any smaller cities pop up here. Clear Pond, you're right in the thick of this particular tornado warning. It looks like that's maybe the smallest city that's in this particular storm. But you need to be seeking shelter. This is extremely dangerous. It's about to move over your area in Clear Pond. You're right in the path of this storm along Highway 301, 601, Bamberg, Embry, Farrell, Crossroads, Midway, Cannon, Bamberg, South Carolina. All of these cities need to be on alert over the next several minutes. This large and extremely dangerous tornado was located just to the east of Olmar. So Olmar, you're out of the danger zone for this particular tornado warning, but you still need to be on alert for the rest of the evening. And that's definitely not a signature I like to see here. There's that velocity. So let's give you a new tracker since this is moving, and we're getting new velocity scans with this. So at 40 miles per hour, and of course I'll draw the entire warning box zone for areas who live in these regions or anybody who lives in this area. So let's do it from the center of the storm and draw it out. So So Hughes at 6:25 p.m. is when we're going to see that storm. Oh, let me draw that again. So Hughes at 6:25, 6:30 in Bamberg. So you have about 10 minutes. You need to be in your safe place now. 6:34 p.m. in Midway, 6:39 in Cannon, and 6:46 there in Branchville. Let's see. So a lot of you guys tuning in. I'm seeing a lot of new viewers. So make sure to let me know where you're watching from, what your concerns are for this evening. This is the one that you're seeing on the screen right now is a confirmed tornado on the ground. I'll leave it up here for anybody who's in this area. This is our one tornado right now that we can say that is confirmed. We have several tornado warnings ongoing, but this is an extremely destructive storm that's possibly going to move over Clear Pond here within the next couple minutes. Hughes, you're in the path of this storm. Bamberg, Midway, Cannon, and Branchville, South Carolina. This is in the state of South Carolina. So let me know where you're watching from. If I can answer any questions, any of your concerns, we'll still be here with this particular storm. Let's see. Okay, so just had to take a little bit of break and get some of the latest stats. Looks like we still have, what you were seeing on your screen is that ongoing tornado warning, a really dangerous situation ongoing there in parts of South Carolina. If you were tuning in earlier, it was moving close to Olar. Now it's right over Clear Pond there. If you're in this area, you need to be seeking shelter right now. It's a very dangerous storm that's moving over this region. This is one of the storms that we're watching. Looks like we just had a new tornado warning. Oh, and they just extended that tornado warning that's ongoing there in portions of South Carolina. So now Branchville, Bowman, South Carolina, Roswell, along Highway 210, 210 in Lambrick, 66 city. That's not a number, that's a city. Wetzel, Wells, all of these areas are going to be under this new tornado warning. So maybe you're not familiar with the cities. Let's read out those counties. This is for Bamberg County and Orangeburg County in central South Carolina. If you're anywhere in this region, a large and dangerous tornado right now is on the ground. You need to be seeking shelter, especially in that new tornado watch box zone or tornado warning box zone. And here's a look. So when we turn this on, it could be a little bit confusing, but this is telling us, where you're seeing those bright colors, that there is a debris ball signature, means there's a tornado on the ground right now. It is causing damage. It's very destructive and dangerous. Again, this is in South Carolina. If you're just now tuning in, this is what we're tracking at the current moment. So let's put on reflectivity. And I'm going to try to get some visuals for you guys so you can see what's going on the ground. But here we are tracking the storm. And it looks like they just issued a new tornado warning just to the south of this particular zone. And they did extend this tornado warning that was earlier, did produce a tornado in areas of Georgia. But now it's over South Carolina. So let's get the latest stats on this. So a tornado warning for portions of Buford and Jasper counties in South Carolina. This is a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado. It did produce a tornado earlier in the night. So this is a dangerous storm. And when you see these storms that have produced a tornado earlier in the night, it means it's pretty dangerous. We're already seeing that velocity signature there. So you need to be seeking shelter if you live anywhere in these areas. And people are concerned in Florence, South Carolina. So a lot of people asking you questions. Keep asking them, and we're going to time this. So let's time this out. Let's give you a new tracker for this. See if the cities pop up there. So there it is, where you're seeing those bright colors on the screen. That's where that tornado warning, or that tornado, is located right now. And it's right just past over Clear Pond. So it's now to the east of Clear Pond and moving. Looks like it is changing a little bit of direction, or maybe we're seeing two indications of a rotation there. There's that debris ball signature, so that's where we're seeing possible damage just to the north of Clear Pond. And I want to time it out, so let's put on that tracker. People are asking for the timer. Reflectivity. Let's do on the velocity. And this storm is moving at, I want to make sure I get the most accurate reading for you guys, at 40 miles per hour. And I'll actually do the entire watch box zone, so anybody who lives within this area needs to be seeking shelter right now. So let's time it out where we're seeing that velocity and how far it'll go. So let's see, there it is. Maybe I can zoom out a little bit more. But if you live in at 6:41, if you live in Embry, that's when the storm will arrive. Branchville at 6:46, 6:51 p.m. in Roseville, and 6:55 p.m. in Lambrick there. So people are concerned for these areas. If you live, this is in South Carolina, by the way. If you're just now tuning in, I'm answering your questions here live. So a lot of activity ongoing here in the comment section, trying to keep up with what you guys are concerned about. But this is for that storm that's in South Carolina, just passing over Clear Pond. If you're in these areas, that means a dangerous, what I'm reading out now is a dangerous tornado confirmed on the ground at 6:41 p.m. in Embry, 6:46 p.m. in Branchville, 6:51 in Roseville, and 6:55 p.m. in Lambrick. But if you're in these cities, doesn't mean that you need to be out and waiting for the storm. You need to be in your safe spot now, seek shelter immediately, and maybe you're new to this area. So again, let me show you that one more time. This is in Clear Pond for those of you asking. And I want to go ahead and show you as well, if anybody has any concern on where to seek shelter, and ask me in the comment section, and I will show you where you can go. So somebody's asking for Buford, that storm that's over this area. I'm assuming that's in South Carolina, because that's where we're seeing all of these storms right now. So let's see, there's a tornado warning here. It doesn't look like it's auto-populating. So there's a storm, like I said, to the south of this. So let's see. Let me get the latest readings on this before I show you that tracker, because I want to make sure that you are receiving the most accurate information with this as we're tracking it out here live. So let's see. Tornado warning. So there's an observed tornado right now in South Carolina over Miley, moving at 45 miles per hour. So let's refresh this. And I'm doing this through different avenues just so I can see where exactly these tornadoes are right now. So an observed tornado, that's for areas of St. George, Reesville, and Smokes, South Carolina. So that's the storm that you're seeing right now on your screen. And this is for Hampton, Colleton, and Dorchester County in South Carolina. I think the ones that y'all were asking about were in Buford County, Bamberg County. So let's see, a little bit south of here, that's where we have this storm. So this is where people were asking. That's the one. Right now, we're not seeing any indication of a tornado confirmed with this, but doesn't mean it can't do it. A lot of people are asking for this particular city in Buford, South Carolina. Earlier in the evening, it did produce a tornado, a pretty dangerous one. I am seeing reports of damage with what happened earlier on this storm. Now, Buford is just to the east of I-95. So let's turn on that velocity and see what we're seeing on the radar, because it was spinning, but I'm not seeing a very good indication of that right now. Doesn't mean that you shouldn't be seeking shelter. If you're anywhere in these areas, you need to be in your tornado safe zone. Although there's not a confirmed tornado with this, it doesn't mean it cannot occur. When they issue these tornado warnings, it could happen at any moment. So that's why they recommend to seek shelter, or not recommend, they advise, and you should be seeking shelter in this area. So let's track it out. I'm going to put the whole warning box zone where I'm seeing that velocity. So in Buford, it'll arrive at around 6:45 p.m. So you have about 10 minutes until it gets there. You need to be in your safe zone now. Laurel Bay at 6:37, Port Royal at 6:42. Briars at 6:51, and at 7 o'clock in Hickory Hill, that's where we're going to see these storm systems. So seek shelter now if you're anywhere in these regions. And yes, South Carolina, it's a pretty busy evening. Let's see, so Branchville, somebody's asking about Branchville, South Carolina. Bear with me because I'm not really sure where these areas are. So Branchville, that was the one we were just looking at earlier. You are under a tornado warning, and this one does have a confirmed or observed tornado with this storm. So both of these are pretty dangerous, and you're seeing that velocity signature on both of these. Look at this, just to the edge of that tornado watch box zone, I'm seeing a tight velocity couplet. And even to the north of this, looks like this storm did move a little bit to the north there in South Carolina. So I know you can't really see it. So let's put on that reflectivity there. So there it is. This is in South Carolina. Once again, these two storms have both tornadoes observed and confirmed with them. And putting on the tracker for them, because I know a lot of people are concerned tuning in, not really sure what's going on in that area. And let me know, have you moved? Are you new to this area, or have you been in this region for a while? Because I know a lot of people have been moving around the country lately and maybe aren't familiar with what to do during these types of storms. These are dangerous storms that are moving over these regions. Somebody asking about, you live in a mobile home. So Branchville, you're right in the thick of this. And I'm concerned, if you're in a mobile home, you should not be in there during a tornado warning. You should know where to go during these types of storms. It's very dangerous to stay in this area. So Branchville, I am concerned for that area, especially if you are in those mobile homes. You need to be seeking shelter in an area that has structure in it. And and know where to go with these types of storms. Especially mobile homes can be really ripped off their foundation pretty easily with these types of storms. So here, let's track it out for that person who's concerned about what's ongoing there in Branchville. And I'm going to track out this whole thing because it looks like the velocity couplet is just to the south west of you, and I want to make sure that you guys will be okay in this area. And strong winds will also be another concern with this. So there's maybe an indication of debris being lofted there just to the south or to the west of Embry. So let's track it out. And I want to, looks like they just updated this warning as well. So let's see if there's still a confirmed tornado on the ground here. Trying to get the latest stats. So tornado warning still remains in effect for East Central Bamberg, Orangeburg counties. A confirmed tornado was located over Branchville, or 10 miles east of Bamberg. So Branchville right now, it's very concerning. Looks like there's a tornado coming in. Still waiting for that new velocity signature, so this might be a little bit behind, but you need to be seeking shelter now. There's a confirmed tornado near this region. So let's time it out. Branchville, you're already under this tornado. Not really sure. Let's see. So Branchville right now, Roseville at 6:42 p.m., Lambrick at 6:47 and 6:53 p.m. in Bowman. Y'all need to be taking shelter. This is an observed tornado on the ground right now. No need to be scared. You need to be prepared for these types of storms. And again, the National Weather Service is saying this was located right over Branchville. And there's actually a lot ongoing now, so bear with me. I'm trying to get the latest information. So confirmed tornado located over Branchville, 10 miles east of Bamberg, and moving at northeast at 45 miles per hour. Let me see if I get any visuals on what's going on. So let's see what's going on here. So people, I'm reading your comments as well, so bear with me. Timeline for Manning, South Carolina, Barnville, South Carolina, and Kingstree. And I know a lot of these cities are very small, and they don't really show up on our system here. So I'm trying to best zoom in, so I know. I'm trying to answer all your questions here live too. A lot of you guys are in South Carolina, so know where to go, even if the storm isn't there yet. Know where your safety place zone is, and that's the most interior portion of your home. So someone was asking about Kingstree. That is right on Highway 52. I'm seeing here. It looks like I'm just seeing right now a severe thunderstorm warning, but these storms are moving over these areas pretty quickly. Let's see. Let me zoom out here for anybody. Somebody was asking earlier if I can zoom out. But here we go. Looks like they just issued a new update with that tornado warning. It's about to cross Highway 26 too. So Branchville, let's see. So we're still seeing a confirmed tornado, pretty dangerous, particularly dangerous situation. Radar confirmed tornado. This is a life-threatening situation. Put as many walls between you and the exterior of your home. Try to get to the lowest level if possible. Cover your head, especially during these types of storms. They could really bring in that debris. It can be pretty fast because of the winds. That the tornado might pick it up and drop it off. So you need to be seeking shelter, have some sort of way to cover your head, especially with this type of tornado warning. When they say a large and extremely dangerous tornado is located over these areas, you need to be seeking shelter immediately. So there it is there on velocity. So that one actually looks a little bit better, and it's picking up it up a little bit better there. And let's put on that correlation coefficient, and that's very concerning. I do not like to see that. That means there is a large tornado on the ground. It's tracking towards Bowman, South Carolina at 6:54 p.m., 66 South Carolina at 6:44, and 6:50 in Lambrick and Wetzel at 7 o'clock p.m. Continue to ask your questions. I'm reading them as I go. Yes. So right now, if you're in, let's say, areas of 66, Branchville, you need to be seeking shelter. Where you are right now, it's a very dangerous storm. Wind gusts are particularly dangerous with this as well, and this will move into these regions. So this is where we're having an observed tornado right now, pretty dangerous, possibly destructive, damaging tornado. This is a life-threatening situation for Branchville, Bowman, Roseville, South Carolina until 7:15 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So you still have quite a bit on this particular storm. And I'm looking to see if we have any more observed tags. I know a lot of you guys are watching us from South Carolina. And that's the one we just read off. So it looks like that's our most dangerous storm right now in areas of South Carolina. The other one we were tracking was in St. George, South Carolina, Reesville, and Smoke, South Carolina. And that's the storm that's just to the south of it. So let's zoom out a little bit and see what we're seeing there. So I am seeing, looks like a debris ball signature there. Velocity, not the best, but I think we're still seeing an observed tornado here on the ground. And this is per the latest update at 6:32 p.m. So that was about 10 minutes ago. We'll have to see if there's any new update on that. And I'm looking on social media too to get any sort of visuals, because there's been a lot of footage of what's going on here. So Fairfax, South Carolina, looks like has a lot of activity. And a lot of damage reports coming in too. I'm trying to give you the latest updates on that. But a lot of crazy images are coming out of these areas. And I want to make sure that you guys know where to go, what to do when there's a tornado warning in place. Let's see, so update on that. Let's move this, because I don't think we've been covering this one enough. And somebody was concerned about Kingstree. So Kingstree, you're not in a tornado warning right now. Doesn't mean you shouldn't be seeking shelter. Let's put in this one. Let's get the latest stats on this. So a tornado warning for, so it doesn't look like we're seeing a confirmed tornado on the ground, according to the National Weather Service, but let's take a look at what's going on here in the radar, because it could also paint us the picture of what we're seeing on the ground according to radar. So I'm not seeing any super tight indications of velocity with this storm, and it's pretty tricky because it's really close to this radar here, and it's actually coming out of that zone. So I'm gonna have to edit this really quickly here. But right now, doesn't look like you're seeing any sort of confirmed tornado. Doesn't mean it can't occur. It does have the possibility, which is why you're under this tornado warning. But let's track it out if you're in this region, Kingstree. So here's the thick of the storm, is like right here. Kingstree, you're under a severe thunderstorm warning. So it'll arrive in your area. So you're seeing a lot of activity right now, a lot of lightning, a lot of wind. And this particular storm that's being tornado warned will arrive in your area at around 7:03 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So you need to be on alert. Although you're not under a tornado warning, doesn't mean this warning cannot be extended. That's why they have extended this already from this storm that's near, let's see if we can zoom in and see if there's any smaller cities. Well, it's near Baggett Crossroads, Forston, and Greeleyville in South Carolina. And that is really in the central portion of South Carolina here. And so those are the regions that are under a tornado warning now. Looks like Florence, you're going under a severe thunderstorm warning, and this is being warned for, let's see, 60-mile-per-hour wind gust. There could be damage to trees and power lines. You may lose power with this as well. So that's another concern with these storms, because they'll bring in those gusty winds and you may lose power in these areas. Let's take a look at what this storm is doing, because this is the one that I was concerned about earlier. It already produced a damaging tornado located over Clarendon, moving at 40 miles per hour. There was reports of a funnel cloud, looks like, from weather spotters in this area. And this goes until 7 o'clock p.m. So usually a funnel means the tornado couldn't really touch the ground. It looks like it might have spun up, but doesn't look like we're seeing anything confirmed. But with that report, I'm sure we're going to see some sort of velocity signature, which I am seeing a little bit of that this evening. Buford, you need to be in your shelter. Sheldon, in your shelter. But looks like they are extending this, so that's some good news. This tornado warning is being extended as a severe thunderstorm warning, so that means the tornado potential has weakened a little bit, but doesn't mean you can't see it later on this evening. And this is being warned for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and penny-sized hail. So that's some good news. Let's give you an update on what's going on here, because I'm still seeing that very strong indication of velocity. I'm coming very close to Bowman. So let's see, Bowman at 6:56 p.m., 7:02 p.m. in Wetzel, South Carolina. These are very small cities, so I know a lot of them aren't being populated very well right now, just because of how small these warning box zones are. But if you live in this area, this is a confirmed tornado. I'm already seeing this on radar. This is a Pds tornado, so it means particularly dangerous situation tornado, confirmed an extremely large tornado, dangerous, moving near Bowman or 11 miles southeast of Orangeburg, moving northeast at 45 miles per hour. So this is located near Bowman. Bowman, you need to be in your safe zone now. Seek shelter immediately. This storm is dangerous and moving over your area. Branchville, looks like that tornado has moved out of your area. You're actually on the edge of that tornado warning box zone, so you're in the clear now. But where we're not in the clear is in Bowman, Roseville, and Wetzel, South Carolina. That's where we're currently seeing that tornado warning. And somebody asking about Buford, I think that's the storm to the south of this area. So this storm moving into areas of smokes, and that did have a tornado warning or observed tornado tag with it earlier. So it looks like a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado might have lifted, but doesn't mean you shouldn't be in your tornado safe spot now. So let's get an update. Looks like they just updated this particular tornado warnings for the people who are asking me about King Street. So nothing confirmed with this. It's just a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado, but it has been extended, I think, with the severe thunderstorm warning. And this is going to produce 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So that's what we were talking about earlier. In King Street, you are under this severe thunderstorm warning. But yeah, my main concern right now is this particular tornado. It did move over Branchville earlier. This is our most dangerous storm right now on the ground. And this goes until 7:15. So you still have about 30 minutes on this storm. And this is a damaging tornado being reported by the National Weather Service in South Carolina. So I'll read off the counties for anybody who lives within these counties. So this is Orangeburg County, and this is the only county that's under this particularly dangerous situation tornado warning. You need to be seeking shelter, so let's take that tracker off and give you the latest updates. These radar scans are updating pretty frequently, so I'm trying to keep up with them and give you the latest stats on them. But if you're in Branchville, you're in the clear from the storm. You're just right outside that warning box zone, and it's moving close to Lambrick, Bowman, Wetzel, along 210, Road 210 there, and Highway 21 just to the east of it. It's going to cross Highway 78 here within the next 10 minutes, and then eventually make its way across Highway 176 in South Carolina. These are small cities, so it's pretty scary to be under these tornado warnings, but you really need to be taking shelter and know where to go. So let's see, I'm continuing to read your comments, and let me get the latest stats on these tornadoes. Let me leave the tracker on for anybody who's in this area while I read some of these stats, because I know some of you guys tuning in maybe are hearing the sirens go off. Pretty scary situation, and I'm just gonna track it out for the entire warning box zone, because this whole region needs to be seeking shelter, from Lambrick to Bowman to Wetzel. All these areas need to be under these. You need to be in your tornado safety place or even your tornado shelter. Not sure if any of those areas are frequent with tornado shelters. I know a lot of that is in the plains, but you need to know where to go during these types of storms. So we're still seeing a confirmed, as of right now, a confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado located near Bowman, 11 miles southeast of Orangeburg, moving at 40 miles per hour. So it looks like the storm is right over or near Bowman, and it'll move over this area pretty quickly. So that's right now. So this tracker is a little bit outdated. Let's put on that velocity. There's Bowman. There's where they're saying it's coming very close to it. And let's track it out for you guys. So you need to be in your shelter right now. There is no time to think about going to it. You need to be going into it right now. And really the best place is the most interior portion of your home. So that I'm talking about closets, hallways, bathrooms if they don't have windows, stairs. If you have a basement, that's really the best area to go. Make sure you're covering your head. If you have any helmets, maybe put it on your head. It's always safer to do that. Or if you don't have helmets, any sort of blankets, maybe pillows, mattresses, something that can cover you during this particular tornado warning, especially if you're in this area, because this is an extremely large and dangerous tornado. It is picking up debris. So that means debris that is being picked up with the winds, they'll be pretty strong, may cause damages to homes as well, as we're tracking this out live. So just a couple of recommendations I have for you guys, especially if you're new to this area, not really sure what to do during these types of situations. That's your best bet. Let's read the latest stats too. So if I go quiet on y'all, I'm just reading what's ongoing. So that's what we were talking about, that damaging tornado, a life-threatening situation in Bowman, Roseville. It's actually, that tornado warning is on I-95 there in South Carolina. For perspective, and maybe you don't live in this area but aren't really sure where this region is, it's on that I-95 corridor. And so that's really our most dangerous storm that we're seeing right now. Let's see. I'm reading some of these latest stats and looking on social media because there has been a lot of footage of what's ongoing here in portions of South Carolina and North Carolina, or I should say South Carolina and Georgia, but most of these are in South Carolina right now. And honestly, these are signatures I do not like to see on radar. That just means it's a dangerous storm. And of course, we're here. If you aren't watching us on here, but maybe have family members, make sure you're sharing this content with them. Maybe you're concerned if they're in this region. We have meteorologists on our social media as well, keeping you up to date with what's going on. So make sure you're following us on Facebook, Twitter. That's where we're keeping most of our updates. And of course, this live stream, I'm continuing to answer your questions. I always like to have this as supplemental because I know during the storm, if you don't have anywhere to watch, there's a lot of weather information out there, but this is a really good way of telling you live on radar and showing you what's going on live on radar with these particular storms, especially with how powerful they are this evening. These are dangerous situation storms. Several of these have already been issued by the National Weather Service, so that just means it's pretty dangerous. Somebody asking how long to shelter in Buford. As long as this tornado warning goes on, I think that's when you need to be seeking shelter. So let's see where that Buford storm is, and I think that was the one to the south here, yes. So it looks like this storm goes on until 7 o'clock p.m. So you have at least another 6 minutes on this tornado warning. I'm not seeing any indications that this is rotating. Looks like the storm is passing over your area. But I wouldn't say that you're in the clear the rest of the evening. You're still under a tornado watch. There's a line of storms that's moving in behind this. But right now you're just seeing a lot of rain over this area. And it looks like the most dangerous part of the storm is actually right outside this warning box zone. But take a look at what happens. If you're in Buford and you're watching us, asking us how long we should seek shelter, I think you should still be prepared for these storms, because look at this line of storms that's right behind it. It's already moving through Rincon. So if you live in that area or watching us earlier, you saw that really strong line of storms. That means gusty winds are possible with this. Buford, you're under the severe thunderstorm warning. And when they issue this is because strong winds are coming in, even penny-sized hail, 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. That could cause damage. That could make way for power outages. You really still need to be on alert here. And maybe possibly seeking shelter for these strong winds, especially if they do tag it with a dangerous severe thunderstorm warning, because earlier in the evening, a lot of the National Weather Service was issuing up to 80-mile-per-hour wind gusts with some of these. So you definitely need to be on alert, especially in Buford, where this strong line of storms is coming behind these storms. And this is why we're seeing those tornado warnings being issued, is because right behind the line of the storms, or in front of it, this is where we're seeing those individual supercells starting to form, and that's why we're seeing these dangerous storms moving over these regions. So continue to answer your questions. I'll continue to answer them throughout the rest of the evening. Somebody asking where Aaron Jack is. He's actually getting ready for next week's severe weather risk. That's going to be ongoing in portions of the plains once again. And it looks like we are seeing some sort of pattern with this particular severe weather season. Yes, these are the same areas that are seeing tornadoes and even severe weather. So for the ones that have already seen it this season, you just really need to be on alert. These are really dangerous conditions that are ongoing in over the same areas. So Aaron Jack will be storm chasing for us next week as we're in the thick of severe weather season, y'all. And this are the particular storms like this evening. You're seeing this right now in South Carolina, but even tomorrow, there's another risk of severe weather over the same areas. So be on alert and be prepared. If you're watching us, maybe finding us on YouTube or maybe even Facebook, people commenting, maybe you saw somebody commenting on our feed and you're new. The best way really to be on alert with these storm system is downloading the MyRadar app. It does a very good job of giving you those alerts ahead of time. If you're under a tornado warning, it'll let you know. Very far in advance of time, and it'll help you to know if there's even the threat of lightning in your area. So that's my best suggestion. Have that MyRadar app handy on your phone. And if you have anybody who speaks Spanish as well, we have came out with new notifications that also, if your phone is in Spanish, it'll give you notifications in Spanish. So it'll alert you ahead of time as well when the storms will be in your area. And if you know anybody who speaks Spanish, I do bilingual work here as well, and I will try to answer your questions for maybe some of those who don't understand English particularly. I do a lot of Spanish forecasts as well, so we're going to try to keep those social media updates as well in Spanish for any of those who are watching us and know anybody who needs this information in Spanish. So make sure you're sharing that information as well. We have all those Spanish channels, MyRadar in Español, for anybody who needs these warnings in Spanish. And maybe they want to comment on here, hop onto the stream. Maybe I can answer these questions in Spanish as well. So let me know and make sure you're referring them to this particular live stream. We will try to answer your questions and your concerns throughout the rest of the evening. So let's get you the latest updates on what's going on here. I know I've been talking for a while. And I don't think I was particularly planning on staying on this long, but these storms keep spinning. They're really dangerous, so I want to make sure you have the latest information on these. And although we don't have visuals, we have visuals in terms of radar and what we're seeing on the ground now. We have visuals from our social media page, resharing that information on there as well. So make sure you're tuning in there. And I'm trying to digest all this information. It's a lot because I'm seeing a lot of footage on Twitter, particularly of tornadoes that were confirmed on the ground. So let's get that latest update. Yes, and continue to let me know where you're watching from. Our social media page, our meteorologists are on there keeping you up to date, giving you even more visuals of what's going on. If maybe you need to hop off for a bit, maybe you can't have the audio up, we're on there also giving you updates. And of course, we're having tech issues. I really would love to do this all on the MyRadar app, but we're having a couple of tech issues with that. But the MyRadar app is really good at showing you where this velocity is. Everything you're seeing on the screen right now is all accessible in our MyRadar app as a premium feature. It's really helpful maybe for those weather enthusiasts. Maybe you learned a little bit of something tonight and want to see this for yourself on your phone. If you live in a city that I particularly maybe I'm not talking about right now, the MyRadar app will show you these signatures on radar for you to be prepared. I'll give you those updates throughout the rest of the evening. But yeah, continue to comment, say hi. I will try to give you the latest updates, maybe logging off in the next couple minutes or so, depending on what these storms do. Mother Nature, you never know what they're gonna do. And doesn't look, and I'm checking to see if we're still seeing that observed tornado on the ground. So that was as of 2 minutes ago, still on the ground, located near Bowman, 12 miles southeast of Brookdale, moving at 45 miles per hour. Other than that, all of these other tornado warnings are radar indicated. Doesn't mean they can't spin up pretty quickly. And you need to be, if you're in any sort of tornado warning, you need to be in your safe zone right now. So let's take a look at that observed tornado. Can't really see it very well on reflectivity, so we're going to do a velocity signature. Yep, it's still there. It's going to cross I-95 here pretty soon. Santee, you're right on that I-95 corridor. Somerton, Manning. Manning, you're not in the tornado warning, but I think you should be taking shelter. This is a dangerous storm that's moving over your area. And take a look at what's going on now. So that's really the storm I'm most concerned with right now. And this was located near Bowman, so it looks like it's just to the northeast, and you can really see that with that velocity signature there on the screen. Let me see if I can show you that with a standard circle. So here's what we're concerned about right now. This is where we're seeing that indication of velocity. And when you see that, the reds and the greens coming together, that means there's tight velocity, there's something on the ground, possibly on the ground, but this one is confirmed on the ground. And then correlation coefficient. So where the circle box is, I'm not seeing a very deep indication of some sort of damage over this area, but it's definitely there. This is a confirmed tornado on the ground. So let's go back to velocity and track it out for anybody who lives in this area. If you're just now tuning in, maybe share this information. Let's track it out for you. So it's about 12 miles southeast of Brookdale, moving northeast at 45 miles per hour. And what I'll do is I'll do the entire watch box zone because I want all of you guys who are in this tornado warning to be seeking shelter right now. So let's do this, time it out. And you're seeing it there. Santee, 7:14 p.m., 7:25 in St. Paul, Somerton at 7:29, and Davis Station at 7:35 p.m. This is where we're seeing a very dangerous tornado right now confirmed on the ground. It's going to move over 995, may even be parallel to it as it moves. We're really going to track this out over the next several days or several hours and minutes because this is a dangerous situation that's ongoing there right now. Okay, it's just reading the latest stats. If you're concerned that there's no audio, I'm still here. But I know I can go in and out here pretty quickly. Let's see, so that's the dangerous storm that we're tracking now, what you see on your screen. Now tuning in, there's that timing for anybody. And if you see your city on here, take shelter. That storm is dangerous, will move over your area. So let's see if we can, so Santee, Vance, Ellery, Somerton, and Jordan. It's a very small and rural area. There's about 20,000 people under this tornado warning. That's a population within this warning box zone. That's a lot of you guys. Please be seeking shelter, share this information with your family members. It's an ongoing active evening across portions of South Carolina. And I'll try to stay on here as long as we have those confirmed tornadoes on the ground. And continue to answer your questions. Continue to ask, I'll answer. Of course, thinking about anybody who's already been affected by these storms. And I'll try to get some visuals as well because this has been a crazy afternoon for a lot of you guys in South Carolina and a lot of recovery efforts ongoing as well. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of video of this tornado, these tornadoes on the ground. We'll have to see what the National Weather Service rates these later on this evening, but this is really our main concern right now is this particular storm. Let's see, so there it is. Correlation coefficient. See if I can change radars and see anything better. And all this bright stuff too. Oops, did not mean to do that. Could be seeing debris in this area. So Charleston, heads up. There's actually a tornado warning close to you. This is new. That was just issued. It's coming off the shore there, but Charleston, you're extremely close to this tornado warning. So nothing confirmed on the ground now, but doesn't mean you should not be seeking shelter. So let's leave that on there, and let's take a look at the latest stats with this. So velocity, I am seeing that tight velocity couplet there. It's pretty much parallel to the coastline there. Debris ball signature, let's see, velocity and reflectivity. So this storm, so let's track it out because I want to include everybody who's in this box until 7:45. So you have about 40 minutes on this storm. It's moving at 40 miles per hour. So let's put the new tracker on there. Here's that storm, and I want to put the entire box in there. And you know what? We'll include Charleston too. So Friedman at 7:16 p.m., 7:22 in Guatemala Island, and I'm sure I didn't say that correctly. Kiowa Island at 7:35, 7:48 p.m. in Folly Beach, and Charleston at 7:51. So be on alert if you're in Charleston. This storm might come into your area here pretty soon. So let's see, tornado producing storm. I'm seeing we got a new update on this South Carolina storm. So Calhoun, Clarendon in Orangeburg, South Carolina. A severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado is located near Ellery, 17 miles of Brookdale, and moving at 45 miles per hour to the northeast. So looks like we might have seen that tornado lifted. That was confirmed earlier. Doesn't look like the National Weather Service is seeing a confirmed tornado right now on the ground. Doesn't mean that you should not be seeking shelter. These tornadoes could spin up pretty quickly, and that's why they warned them. So yes, radar indicated right now for those areas that we're seeing that confirmed tornado. So it did lift, thankfully, but you're still under a tornado warning over this area. Yeah, and I'm seeing a video right now of that tornado. It's pretty big. They're near Ellery. Seeing if I can grab this video. This is crazy stuff I'm seeing all across social media. A lot of lightning activity coming into Rincon for those that were watching us earlier in that area. Tornado reports all across Georgia. And I'll continue to answer your questions. As long as you guys stay here, I'll be here helping y'all through the storm. But yes, just wanted to come on really quickly and give you a quick update on what was going on in the situation here. We're still seeing that confirmed tornado on the ground earlier. Let's see. So it did lift, thankfully. And this is the storm I'm talking about. So a lot of you were concerned for areas near Buford, crossing I-95. That's where we were talking about Ellery. This storm, thankfully, according to the National Weather Service, has lifted. But if we take a look at velocity, we're still seeing rotation with this storm. This correlation coefficient too, we're not seeing any debris ball signature, but we may see, so this bright banding over here, that might be the debris fallout from the storm. So that means debris was lofted and you're seeing it possibly over I-95 near Somerton. Not seeing any debris ball signatures, there's no confirmed tornado on the ground right now with this storm, which is the good news if you live in this area. We're still seeing that tight velocity couplet over this area. You still need to be taking shelter because you already saw what it did earlier in the evening, so that doesn't mean that it can't spin up. But as of right now, we're not seeing any confirmed tornadoes on the ground at this particular moment. And of course, we'll continue to update you throughout the rest of the evening. Let's see. We've been going on for about an hour. So somebody asking, thank you for your questions. Maryville, Tennessee. So Cottageville, Sandy, is that in South Carolina? I'm assuming it is, or maybe Georgia. So Cottageville, South Carolina. And you're seeing that's a severe thunderstorm warning in place. So Cottageville is just to the northwest of Charleston. So let's look at that for those. And if you ask, I will try to track it out for you guys. So Cottageville should be over here. Let's see if it shows up on here. I'm trying to zoom in, but maybe I'm zooming in the wrong location. So let's see, it's near Walterboro. Let's see if this pops up. So Walterboro, it's right there. So Cottageville, you're actually not under a severe thunderstorm warning. But this storm particularly is being warned for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and penny-sized hail. So I wouldn't be surprised if you were to go under a severe thunderstorm warning, but you're not under one right now. A lot of the rain right now, it's pretty quiet, but it'll start to pick up, and all of that rain and wind will come in here within, I would say, the next, let's see, it's moving at 60. So this is a very fast storm. This line of storms is really fast. So it's moving at 60 miles per hour to the northeast. And so I'm going to put a tracker for the person asking. So moving at 60 miles per hour. Here's Walterboro. Here's the edge of the storm, and there's Cottageville. So Cottageville at about 7:20. So you have about 8 minutes until the storm gets there. So that means gusty winds will come in. You'll start to hear the rain pounding, gusty winds, and possibly hail coming into your area. So no tornado threat, but you'll get that wind threat coming in here within the next coming minutes. And somebody asking about Buford, and that's there in South Georgia, or South Carolina in here, Georgia. So you guys in Buford, that same line of storms is about to come into your area. So you're not under a tornado risk, but that means winds will start to pick up, the rain will start to pound here within the next, I would say, 10 minutes. And let's track it out for the person asking in Buford. That's at 7:26 p.m. So yeah, you have about 10 minutes left until the storm gets to you. You're already seeing the rain pick up, the wind will start to pick up, and this is the kind of situation we'll see there. So 60-mile-per-hour wind gust. But yes, so anybody who's not under a particular warning, this line of storms is coming in for you guys here in the next coming minutes. And Sandy, thank you for commenting. Yeah, so you're good. You're not going to see any sort of tornado with this particular system. I'm not seeing any sort of indication of velocity or anything spinning, but the winds will come in pretty quickly. So hang in there. It'll be scary for a bit, but then after that, it'll just be pounding rain, possibly hail coming in as well with this particular storm system. Somebody asking, let's see, people from Tennessee watching us. Looks like the storms are out of your area in Tennessee, but tomorrow brings us another risk of severe weather. Unfortunately, I know it's been an active severe weather season. It's actually been quite a bit of time since we've seen this amount of activity with severe weather season. March could be a record-breaking month in terms of tornado reports in tornadoes observed, and it looks like April, this is the first week of April, and we're already seeing these types of conditions over these areas. So continue to ask your questions. I really do love answering them. Trying to keep up with all the warnings here because right now we have about, so it looks like they just expired a tornado warning. Right now we have 2 tornado warnings, one coming in close to Charleston and the one to the north that had a tornado confirmed earlier in the evening. Right now it looks like it has lifted, but let's get the latest facts because I just saw the National Weather Service update this. I'm drinking some water here. My voice is going out a little bit from talking so much, but let's see. So no confirmed tornado with this, but let's take a look at the velocity signature. It's the rotation looks like it's right over Santee, and And at any moment, this could drop. So that's going to be along the I-95 there in South Carolina. Okay, so somebody asking about Allendale. That's where, yes, earlier in the evening, there was a confirmed tornado. It does look like you might be under a severe thunderstorm warning, so that means a lot of rain, a lot of wind coming for you guys in Allendale. Hope y'all are doing okay out there. If you were affected by these storms, I know it's pretty scary evening in general. South Carolina, it's actually been a while since I've tracked tornadoes in this area, so this might be scary, especially if you're new to South Carolina. You can get tornadoes like these in this area, but especially today, this is an extremely active evening for you guys. So I'm checking in on Allendale, and this was over here by Kingstree, I think. Let's see. So yes, that line of storms is coming really close to you guys. So Allendale is right on that border of Georgia and South Carolina. So let's go back a little bit. So it looks like just a lot of rain for now. The line of storms has passed over your area. You might get just some rain here and there, but most of the activity is now to the east of you. So yes, Allendale, right to the east of you. Sorry, answering my questions from my great editor who's in the background helping me out, Matt Thailand. Always appreciative of him helping me out here, especially when we just jump on the stream and try to track these tornadoes out. An extremely active evening across these areas. And we don't have visuals, unfortunately, today, as our storm chasers gearing up for next week's severe weather threat, because this has been, I think, what seems like a month and a half of just constantly tracking severe weather since pretty much the month of March. And if you don't remember, earlier in the year, we also had a severe weather threat. So this has been pretty much all year. We're already in the 4th month of the year, and we're still, this is the peak severe weather season, and we're tracking even more storms coming into this area. So people are asking for this tornado warning down here near Charleston, Foley Beach, Seabrook Island, Riverland. Let's check in on that. Somebody's saying, Matt, I'm not sure if you can hear me. The live is not working on the MyRadar app. Pretty scary day, but we're trying to keep up with this, trying to keep y'all updated. Make sure you're sharing our information on Facebook. I know there's a lot of great weather information. There's so many meteorologists who keep track of this very well, so I do appreciate you guys tuning into this particular stream, tracking these tornadoes nationwide in the South Carolinas. So make sure you're sharing our information, and of course, we have this information in Spanish as well. One of my biggest tasks is to bring that Spanish information to the Spanish-speaking population. So if you know anybody who's concerned about these storms, maybe don't understand English, they could always hop on here and answer the question in Spanish, and I'll answer it as best as I can. So let's I'm gonna get the latest updates here. Now I'll leave this tornado warning up here because this is the one that a lot of you guys are. Okay. Got it. So the person who was commenting if the app stream was working, it's working on our end. Let me know if you're having any more issues on that. Let's see. Oh, somebody from Chicago is watching us. Y'all might get some of that cold weather up there. let me read these updates. So it looks like, at least as of for right now, thankfully, we just have radar indicated tornado warnings. But doesn't mean that you shouldn't be seeking shelter. As proved by earlier in the evening, we did see a lot of confirmed tornadoes. So let's see. So let's take a look at what's going on here. You're seeing on your screen. I'm trying to get these updates for you live, but thankfully right now, we're stand up here. But let's see. Let me read these. Hey Sandy, she's asking how you are, Matt. Matt Highland, of course, always helping me in the background. Somebody's saying they live in South Carolina. If you let me know what city you're watching from, I can try to track it out for you. And we will see best. But I'm assuming if you have any visuals in your area, that it is that tornado warning that's ongoing there. So let's zoom out, because this is very zoomed in, and I just wanted to give those areas that are near Charleston some perspective of what's going on. And I'm doing this live, so tracking it out here on my laptop, and looks like we have some new tornado warnings oncoming now per the National Weather Service. So let's give you an update on those. So Hardyville, oh, this is a interesting storm. Interesting tornado watch box zone, I should say. I just want to make sure that we're not seeing anything dangerous on the ground there. So all of these right now, for the moment, which is some good news, are radar indicated. Matt, not sure if my audio is up. Okay, so hopefully y'all can hear me. Let me know if you can. I'm not sure if we lost audio, but Matt tells me we can hear me. Let's see. Okay. So Hanahan, is that in South Carolina? Let me know what state y'all are watching us from. So somebody's in downtown Charleston. So we'll go ahead and do that one, since that was the first question I saw here. Time it out, because although this is a radar indicated tornado warning, doesn't mean that it won't spin doesn't mean it won't start to spin up there. So let's take a look at this tracker, time it out. So it's moving at 45 miles per hour. Let's take a look if we are seeing any sort of velocity signature on here, so we can pinpoint where. So it looks like a little bit of it were those pinks, but not very well indicated on this. So let's just track out that whole warning box zone, especially all the way out to Charleston, where that's a hugely populated area in this zone that's seeing this tornado warning. And we'll have to see if it gets extended. But Charleston, either way, you're under a severe thunderstorm warning for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and penny-sized hail. So let's track it out. The center of the storm is right here, and any cities within this track to Charleston will track it out. So Guatemala Island, I think that's how you say it, 7:27 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time is when the storm will arrive for you. It is tornado warned. You can be in your safe zone right now. 7:35 p.m. in Kiowa Island, Fenwick Crossroads at 7:37 p.m., 7:44 in Folly Beach, and Charleston at 7:46 p.m. there this evening. So Somerville, Yes, as long as you know where to go. I know these storms can be scary. As long as you know where to go, where your safe zone is. So that means the most interior portion of maybe the building that you're in, or get to the lowest floor as well. That's the safest spot where you can be during a tornado warning. And put as many walls between you and the outside, especially during a tornado warning, because these tornadoes can spin up pretty quickly, as you saw earlier in the night. Sometimes we were tracking these and we moved on to another storm, and then they spun up pretty quickly. And we saw a lot of this evening. So that's why they issue these tornado warnings in these regions. So let's take a look at the next tornado warning. That's just to the north of here. And all of these are along I-26 there. So I-26 to I-95 corridor. The one earlier that produced a very dangerous tornado, looks like we're not seeing that right now, but let's give you a new update on this tornado warning. So this is for Berkeley County, in Dorchester County in South Carolina until 8 o'clock p.m. This is a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado. It means that at any point we could see a tornado with this storm. So let's zoom in here. And then you're seeing that velocity signature there. Let's try to zoom in more. It's right on that edge of those warning box zones. And I imagine that's why they have two different tornado warnings here on the screen that you're seeing, because of this little velocity signature here. So I always love doing this, tracking out the entire watch box zone, because even if you're not particularly in the path of this storm, these storms could shift, they could change direction, and so either way, you need to be in these tornado, you need to be in your tornado shelter during these types of storms. So let's track this out. And I'm seeing a lot of questions about these tornado warnings right now. Maybe you're under a severe thunderstorm warning. A lot of these are being warned for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. This will cause power outages later on in the evening. So let's track it out. So from Tugtown in South Carolina, 7:29 p.m., Moorfield at 7:36, 7:38 in Cross, Pineville at 7:48, and 7:52 at St. Stephen. And I would say, if you live in these areas and you're hearing these times, I hope you're doing it from your tornado shelter or your safest place in your home, because when you're under a tornado warning, you need to be seeking shelter. These storms can move pretty quickly. They can change direction. They can be very variable. So this is why the National Weather Service issues these tornado warnings, to give you a heads up. Hey, go into your tornado shelter now. And then after the storm is over, of course, that's when it's safe to do so. But until this warning goes over your area, or until it expires over your region, you need to be seeking shelter within this tornado polygon, is what we call it. These boxes that are drawn for the tornado warning. So somebody's asking about, let's see, let me update you on these questions. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really do hope this is helping you out this evening. I know a lot of activity ongoing, can be scary at times, but we're here to keep you updated on what's going on. That's a good point, Sandy. Lost sound because of the rain and thunder. Yeah, it'll be loud in some of these areas. So Chatham County, sorry if I did not say that correctly. So Pooler, Georgia. I suspect that line of storms is moving right over your area. You might actually be right outside of it. So let's see, Pooler, Georgia, you're close to Savannah. Oh, that was that area that was seeing that really dangerous storm earlier this evening. So reflectivity there. So let's zoom out. And so Pooler, Georgia is just close to Savannah there. So it looks like the bulk of the line of storms just is to the east of you. It's coming offshore now, which is some great news for you guys in southern Georgia. This is what I like to see this early in the evening. A lot of that storm activity is to the east of you. So in Pooler, Georgia, I think you're just going to get in on a lot of rain, but it doesn't mean your threat is over. We could see the threat of flash flooding. So that means if you see flooded roadways, turn around, don't drown. These are dangerous conditions to be traveling in this evening. But overall, as you can see behind me as well, this is where we're seeing the radar. And I'm looking at my screen because this is where we're moving the radar on right now. But over these areas, I think after this line of storms pushes out to the sea, the only threat you really have is flash flooding. And that's also another big threat. but these will move out of your area pretty quickly. Just watch out for that possibility. And this stretches all the way down into portions of Florida, where if you're anywhere from Brunswick, St. Mary, Jacksonville, Lake City, and even Gainesville, this line of storms is going to move over your area here within the next couple of hours. And I'll time it out here in just a little bit. If anybody's watching us from those regions, let me know if you want to see the timer for later on this evening. Right now, we're just doing this live radar on what's currently going on right now. Not seeing any confirmed tornadoes, but several tornado warnings are still ongoing from areas of South Carolina. At least as of right now, it looks like we have 3 tornado warnings. And thankfully, none of these have any sort of dangerous tornado on the ground tag, at least as for right now. But of course, tornado warning means that these could be issued. This could happen. Tornadoes can rotate pretty quickly within these storms. So let's take a look. Let's actually track it out. So for anybody who maybe lives in other regions of the country, here's what we're expecting for the rest of the evening. And I'd imagine this has changed dramatically because as these lines of storms push out of the coast, the Storm Prediction Center, or the National Weather Service, is expiring all of these tornado watches. And the tornado watch means you just need to be on alert for the possibility of a tornado to form over your area. And a tornado warning means it's imminent, it's happening now, seek shelter immediately. And that's what we were tracking over the last hour or so here. But here's a look. So a lot of, I would say, Myrtle Beach, from Myrtle Beach to Florence to Longs, North Carolina, and Wilmington, you guys are under the tornado threat at least until 12 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Across portions of Georgia to South Carolina, your threat goes at least until 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So be on alert over the next coming hours of these particular dangerous, they already produce dangerous tornadoes this evening. So let's track it out. So within the next hour or so, you can see a lot of the activity already off the coast there of Savannah. And this, I think it's lagging a little bit. So I would say maybe an hour earlier, be prepared for these storms. So I would say around 8 p.m. So that's in the next 30 minutes. This is where that line of storms could be found. A lot of the activity will start to come in portions of North Carolina this evening. And then eventually, as we play it out throughout the rest of the evening, a lot of it is now concentrated. That's why the Storm Prediction Center and the National Weather Service has issued these tornado watches at least through midnight, because all of that storm activity will be in the North Carolina and parts of South Carolina. Really after 9 p.m., most of the threat is over with the exception, I think, of areas of North Florida, from Jacksonville to Perry, along that I-75 corridor there. That's when we're going to see some storms moving in through the area. Could be a lot of lightning associated with this and strong wind gusts with these particular storm systems moving through these regions over the next coming hours. So then playing it out, at least after midnight, a lot of that storm activity is really concentrated in Jacksonville. And really after midnight, I think all of these storms push out, with the exception of maybe some strong storm activity in portions of central North Carolina. So that's really what we're seeing now. A lot of the strongest activity is now currently happening now and will at least last until 10 p.m. this evening, especially if you're in South Carolina. Just hang in there. I know it's been an active evening, a pretty scary one for a lot of guys that were under those PDS tornado warnings. And eventually these conditions will clear, but I mean, always be on alert, because this is what's going to happen tomorrow. And this is another day that we're concerned about, and it looks like they just updated to now include areas of central Georgia. So I'm talking about you guys that live in Atlanta, North Georgia, Tennessee, central Alabama, from Birmingham to Huntsville, Macon, Georgia. These areas are under this level 3 out of 5 severe weather risk. So that means an enhanced risk of severe weather. All of what this just means is the possibility of tornadoes is greatest within this region. Hail is definitely possible, and damaging wind gusts up to 70 miles per hour. We're already seeing a lot of this evening. So be prepared for power outages. Be prepared to seek shelter when a tornado warning is issued in your region. So let's go back. I haven't read your comments lately, but I want to make sure that I'm covering it all for you guys. So a lot of you guys from Summerville, South Carolina. Hopefully you guys are staying safe. And as always, thank you for commenting on this. I love answering your questions here on the live. And let's get a couple of stats on what's going on currently on radar. So thankfully, these are all radar indicated tornado warnings. Okay, so we might end things here on our end. It looks like we're still going to see tornado warnings, but thankfully none of them are on the ground right now being produced within these regions. Let's see. Okay, so let's give you a last quick little update before we hop off here. And of course, if you have any questions, we'll see if we need to go back on this evening. I know it's going to be a crazy night for a lot of you guys across South Carolina, North Carolina. So if we don't come on, though, you see all of our Facebook information, our Twitter information. You could always follow me too on Facebook. My social media is tagged here live. If you're watching us on Facebook at least. And let's do one last little roundabout about what's going on, the current situation right now, giving you the latest stats. So there's that line of storms already pushing into these areas. No tornado confirmed on the ground, but there's still tornado warnings. And this is a tornado warning for portions of Charleston County with it's moving at 30 miles an hour to the east. And I'm seeing if there's any particular winds, maybe 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts coming into this area. Charleston, South Carolina, you're under a severe thunderstorm warning. It looks like they just updated this tornado warning that's over across South Carolina. So we're going to zoom into this area. So let's zoom in here and let's do. So this tornado warning moving at 45 miles per hour to the northeast. Nothing confirmed on the ground, but you're about to get in the thick of this storm, and this is for Berkeley County until 8 o'clock p.m. So you have at least another 15 minutes on this particular tornado warning. And then to areas of, so another tornado warning. This is the last one we're going to take a look at. That's in effect now. So this is for Florence County, Horry County, Marion, and Williamsburg County in South Carolina. This goes at least until, let's see, 8 o'clock p.m. So another maybe 20 minutes on this, moving at 45 miles per hour. So this tornado was located near this tornado warning, or at least the rotating part of the storm is located near Indiantown, or 15 miles southwest of Lake City, moving at 45 miles per hour. You need to be seeking shelter again. Like I said earlier, a lot of these storms could spin up pretty quickly and make way for a tornado this evening on the ground. So let's zoom out and give you a little bit more perspective. And a lot of this too is being warned for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So if you're in the thick of this line of storms, any of those yellow boxes, a lot of you are saying you have a MyRadar app and you were seeing the yellow box around you. So that means just a severe thunderstorm warning is in effect. 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts will be the main hazard. That does mean that it could make for trees to come down. Power outages are definitely possible with this. And I would show you this on the MyRadar app, but we're having some technical issues with what's ongoing there. So actually, let me look at some of the power outages that we're seeing now. So most of them in Georgia, thankfully, not too many, but at least 21,000 customers are without power this evening. So a lot of you asking about what's going on in your city. So we'll do this again before we end this live stream here. But here's a look at where we're seeing all of our tornado watches. So that means the possibility of tornadoes will still be ongoing for a lot of Georgia until 9 p.m., South Carolina until 9 p.m. Really the areas that you need to watch out for really later in the evening as the storm pushes to the north east is for Myrtle Beach, Florence, Longs, and Wilmington, South Carolina. These areas have the threat of tornadoes at least through midnight. And I wouldn't be surprised if we did see maybe an extension of it, but we'll have to see, because as this line of storms pushes out of the area, so I think this is really within the next hour or so. They're already pushing out of Savannah, Georgia. So a lot of you guys will be in the clear within the next hour or so. And take a look at what happens the rest of the evening. So as these storms push to the northeast, a lot of Wilmington, North Carolina, and areas around Wilmington and South Carolina will see the threat of tornadoes. But then really, after about midnight, I think that's when the threat starts to diminish as this line of storms pushes out of the coast there. Jacksonville, Florida, you haven't really seen much activity, but you will get in on it here between 11 and midnight. And then really after that, I would say about 3 a.m., most of the East Coast is in the clear. A lot of the activity will be to the north in the Carolinas, and possibly the Northeast there. So maybe a lot of you guys tuning in, watching from the Northeast, that's where we're gonna see the activity later on this evening. So let's time it out here and I'll show you behind me. So there it is. There's where that tornado threat lies, at least until midnight. And then really after midnight, most of this pushes to the north and we will see these storms start to push out of this region. So yeah, that does mean you get a little bit of a break on what's going on with this threat later on this evening. But I want you guys, the ones that are tuning in today, you need to be on alert even for tomorrow. I was showing this earlier, but I want to remind you, we do still have a threat of severe weather heading into tomorrow afternoon and into the evening. And that's because there's another storm system behind this one that's going to push in here. So you already saw what these storms did. All of those ingredients are still in place there. We have moist air coming in and those hot temperatures in this region. So that'll continue. And this is why we're seeing another threat of severe weather even tomorrow. I'm not saying this to scare you. I want you to be prepared because that's the best thing you can do heading into tomorrow. Know where your safe zone is in terms of if a tornado warning were to be issued, know what to do. If the power goes out, make sure you have a bag ready with power or with lights, maybe batteries. I know a radio if you can. Download the MyRadar app. That'll help you walk you through what tomorrow might be another busy evening for a lot of you guys in the southeast, because tornadoes are definitely possible. Large hail, high winds, and even localized flooding will definitely be an issue. And again, this is for tomorrow afternoon. So you're still in the thick of this severe weather threat heading into tomorrow. And of course, later on this evening and into tomorrow, we'll have an updated forecast on the app and all of our social media platforms for those of us who are watching us on there. So let's time it out for tomorrow. Like I said, we're still watching this threat of severe weather and even tornadoes tomorrow afternoon. So a lot of the storms start to bubble up between 11 and lunchtime tomorrow afternoon. A lot of it starts in North Florida. You're seeing it, you're feeling the moisture in the air. It really does feel like spring in these areas. And then as we track it out, a lot of these storms start to bubble up and intensify between 2 and 3 p.m. in the afternoon, particularly for areas in Macon, Georgia. That's why the Storm Prediction Center actually put Macon, Georgia within this tornado risk zone, because we're seeing that early in the afternoon. These same areas that we're seeing tornadoes will be under the threat of it tomorrow afternoon. And this continues from 3 to 5. You're seeing it there. Those storms start to shift into the South Carolina area. So maybe some of you who are commenting, I live in a mobile home, really start to think about where to go when there's a tornado warning, because these tornado warnings, with the advanced technology that we have and the amazing forecasts are coming with the Storm Prediction Center, there is time to think about that. So definitely start to think about where to go and know where your safe zone is in terms of where you can seek shelter. There's some public shelters available for you guys, so make sure to know where to go if you're in these areas. And then this continues heading into the rest of the evening. So around the same time that we were seeing it today is going to be around the same time you're going to see these storms heading into tomorrow. And then a line of storm starts to form, and that's going to push into areas of North Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia, areas surrounding it, and even the Georgia mountains there, and portions of Tennessee. And this storm, this threat of severe weather will be ongoing, I think a little bit, although it'll be around the same time, it'll be a little bit longer over these areas, as this will continue into the overnight hours. That line of storm starts to push into that area, and then really by Thursday morning, a lot of the storm activity is mostly in portions of North Carolina, very light rain showers, not really seeing much of a tornado threat, and then eventually into portions of Florida. Florida, this line of storms will reach your area on Thursday afternoon, so that means it'll be pretty rainy, and you'll hear a lot of lightning with these storm systems. So before we end this, I'll leave you with this. And I always want to show this because this is tornado safety, where to go when you are under a tornado warning. I was seeing comments earlier in the week saying, I am new to this area. I just moved here this year. I'm not really familiar with where to seek shelter. And this is really the best area. I know some areas in Georgia do have basements, and for some areas in the plains, you really don't. Maybe you're watching us from Texas and not really sure where to go, because I know a lot of people, all you residents have moved across portions of Texas and the southeast. But here's a little bit of a guide for you guys. The basement is the absolute best place to go. A lot of you don't have it. So if you don't have it, put as many walls between you and the outside. So the most interior portion of your home. I'm talking about hallways, stairs, closets, and bathrooms. And if you can, cover your head, especially when you're under those tornado warnings. That's the best way to protect yourself. And if you don't have a helmet, You could put a blanket, maybe even a pillow or a mattress for protection during these types of storms. So I want to leave you with this. Let's see, before we go, I want to get some updates. But I'll leave you with this, and thank you for those who have commented on this. We'll continue to update you on our social media platforms. I know it's been a long night ahead. You still have a couple more hours on these particular storms that are still ongoing. So let's see. So before we go, Matt, actually, there's a new storm that popped up, and this is what I was talking about earlier. This is a dangerous storm now that's ongoing there in portions of South Carolina. So this is a damaging tornado reported. And this is why I tell you guys, if you're under a tornado warning, you need to seek shelter immediately in these zones. So let's zoom into that area for those concerned. It's going to be a long night for a lot of you guys in the Carolinas. And I want to give you a quick update on what's going on with this before we hop off here. Let's see. So this is for, let's see. So this is Manning, Trubyville, South Carolina, Alcolo, South Carolina. These pronunciations aren't my best, but let me know how to say them if you're watching this. About 14,000 of you guys under this tornado warning. This is a life-threatening situation ongoing now, and this is for this tornado warning here. And after this tornado moves over your area, I think conditions will improve pretty rapidly. So hang in there. Hope you're in tornado safe zone in this region. Not really seeing a strong indication that there's a tornado on the ground per radar, but our debris ball signature product is really picking up on that. And you're definitely seeing it there along Highway 301. And let's time it out here. And give you the latest. So I'll time it out with this. So this is moving, it seems like it's moving pretty quickly. So this is moving at 60 miles per hour. Yes, that is a pretty fast moving storm. And of course, like I always love to do, I will do the entire watch box zone here. So if you're anywhere along, it's actually along this I-95 corridor, if I am correct. Let's do that again. So yeah, this is the one that actually produced a tornado earlier in the evening. And let's time it out. I'll do the center of the storm and time it out for areas to the north and even to the west here. So Cypress Fork Crossroads at 7:49 p.m., 7:54 in Sardinia, a Silo at 8:01, Atlanta at 8:04, and at 8:10 at Sardis. Again, this is in South Carolina. If you're in this area, you need to be seeking shelter immediately. There's a dangerous tornado on the ground right now. And we're going to continue to update you on social media. You know, our whole team of meteorologists has been pretty great in updating us on what's going on here. This ongoing severe weather situation in portions of South Carolina. And Matt, let's leave the radar on at least for a bit before we end the stream to see if there's any more questions. And if you can find us, of course, on social media, make sure you're following us on there. Download the MyRadar app if you're just tuning in or new to the channel. That's really the best way to find us. And of course, my Facebook page is linked onto this Facebook feed if you're watching this from there. So ask your questions on there. I'll be here all night tracking it out for you guys through social media. So make sure you're finding us on there. And for now, we'll leave you the radar image for those areas that need to seek shelter in portions of South Carolina. But I'm signing off for now. Of course, we're going to keep you up to date here. I'm just going to give our behind the scenes people a little bit of a break here. But we'll hop on if need be, if situations get out of hand later on this evening. But I'll see you on social media. Make sure you're following us on there.